Okay, now let's go ahead and talk about the last reset, the hard reset. And remember, this is the most dangerous reset because it's going to wipe you clear. So we have our Shockeys, we have our head, and we have our most updated version, the version we recently committed in our working directory, version 3. When we do git reset hard, Git is going to move the head and then completely wipe our working directory and staging index. So remember, the kind of example I used earlier, your publisher is sending you the commit package that you wanted, and you're throwing away everything else. So very dangerous because your working directory is going to be wiped and you're not going to get it back. So any files you were tinkering with that were like, oh, maybe I'll bring it, they're gone. The only good example that I can think of that you could use this for is really if you went down a path and maybe it's just some file just isn't working right now. You have no idea why not. It's okay for you to lose it. So you just say, I'm just going to do a hard reset back to this commit. And surprisingly, it is used more often than you'd think, just because, of course, in programming, you run into a lot of troubles with, okay, suddenly the code just stopped working, or, some bug and we don't know how to fix it. We just need to go back to a point. And this is another great time to mention, this is why it's very important to commit often. You have all these little safety buffers that you can hard revert back to. And with each commit, you know that your code is working. You have all these little checkpoints in your code that you can say, well, I know I was working here, and now I have this very strange error that I can't get rid of, and everything's screwed up. So I'm just going to change everything back to that point. So that's why it's very important to commit often. Let's go ahead and look at an example of a hard reset. All right, so let's do an example of a hard reset. We're going to change everything back to a certain commit we did. Now, as you can see, if you've been following along, hopefully at the last video you heard you should add back these 3 commits. If you haven't, this is pretty much what I did. I added line A, I committed line A. I added line B, committed line B, yada, yada, yada. So what I want to do now is, let's say I said, these lines are causing some bug in my code. There's something weird. Publisher, I want you to send me this commit, and I just want to throw everything else away. We're just going to scrap all of these things, and we're just going to go to a new, we're just going to start over from this checkpoint. Think of it, in a video game or whatever, if you go and you die, you take a bad route, you start over at a checkpoint. But you completely start over, you don't bring back the guns that you picked up or the ammo or the points or whatever. You completely start over at this checkpoint. So imagine this is when you die and you need to go back to a checkpoint. You're completely starting over from that checkpoint. So what I want to do here is I want to get rid of these commits, rid of these 3 lines because that's what I added, and go back to simpler times, which was this commit. So if I look at git status right now, okay, I've got nothing in my staging index. That matches up with this one. My working index matches up. Everything's synced. So I'm going to do a git reset hard, and then I'm going to go back to 102E275. Oh, it looks like, oh, I didn't, this is E, not 3. So, head is now at this commit. Now, if I look at my git status here, it's going to say, oh, there's nothing. If I click on my working directory, it updated, and it got rid of everything else that was added. I actually did on line A, I added that thing too. I forgot to tell you guys that. But, so, all of these things changed back. They warped back in time. This was a hard reset. Notice how Git does not say, oh, yeah, all these files you used to have. It goes, nope. If I do git log 1 line, it doesn't see those other commits. This is the latest commit it knows about. And if I commit, I'm going to start, going off of those commits. So hard reset is dangerous because I've lost everything in that code forever. It's gone. Git wiped it out. Now, some of you are going, Joe, it was 3 lines. You knew exactly what was there. Yes, but sometimes it's not 3 lines. Sometimes it's 3 huge, 1,000+ pages of code files that, when you lose, you can't lose that. It's very important. So be very careful with the hard reset. Make sure you know what you're doing. Like I said earlier, sometimes it's good just to make a backup, but the hard reset's definitely the most dangerous one, not something to take lightly.